6 months ago, I kept a musk turtle at home. I originally planned to document its entire growth process. However, the home I built for it was oversized, which often led me to lose track of it. Additionally, it likes to be nocturnal, and there was some time difference between us, so the observation plan fell through. Therefore, I decided to get another one. This time I chose a snapping turtle. It is currently 6 months old. It prefers to be active during the day, and I've heard that its predatory ability is quite strong. This makes me very curious about its behavior, considering the growth rate and habits of snapping turtles. This time, the aquarium construction will be somewhat different. Additionally, we have divided it into 3 functional areas, including water area, land area, and basking area, completely aligning with the needs of the snapping turtle. For the water area, we chose volcanic rock and driftwood to create the foundation. Then we added some aquatic plant substrate and covered it with sand. The land area was filled with clay balls. They can reduce the risk of mold. They also provide a habitat for beneficial bacteria, a suitable living environment. Next, I need to create a basking area for the snapping turtle, so I prepared a stone slab. After rinsing it off, I placed it on the clay balls. I then placed a few pieces of Qinglong stone around it. Finally, I planted some vegetation. Now I can add water to it to reduce the cleaning burden later on. I specifically installed a high-power sponge filter. In addition, basking lamps and light strips are essential equipment as well. Alright, the building part is complete. Next, the aquarium needs to sit for a few days. After a week, the water quality in the tank should be stable. But before putting the snapping turtle in, I still need to let it acclimate to the water temperature. Half an hour later, the snapping turtle became noticeably more active. It started swimming continuously in the tank. It must be ready to move into its new home. Unlike fish, snapping turtles must surface to breathe. So its first task is to find a suitable breathing spot. Next, it will continue to explore and test different areas, just to find a better place to breathe. By the next day, I found it munching on the aquatic plants and mud at the bottom of the tank. It seemed to be quite hungry, so I immediately fed it some turtle pellets. After it was full, it found a corner to prepare for a nap. When I checked again, I found it resting on top of the filter. It seems it prefers to stay there, rather than in the basking area I carefully built for it. Perhaps because the basking area is positioned higher, the little guy is still small, so it can't climb up. Fortunately, the space in the tank is spacious enough for it. Additionally, feeding them on time. Once it grows a bit bigger, it will be able to climb up easily. To ensure its healthy growth, I plan to offer it a change in diet. It can't always eat turtle food, so I decided to go into the wild to catch some bait fish for it. I prepared a fishing cage. I put some hot dogs and bread inside to serve as bait. Then I threw it into the water. After a few hours, we pulled the cage up. Surprisingly, the catch was quite good. There were actually several different kinds of fish inside, such as mosquito fish and cichlids. However, there were a bit too many, so I released some of them. After getting home, I put them all into the isolation tank I had prepared in advance, because they might carry parasites. There is a risk if fed directly. Additionally, we specifically prepared some frozen fish to feed them to the snapping turtle once completely thawed. After 2 failures, the snapping turtle finally secured its grip on the bait fish. I didn't expect this little guy to be quite strong. It even uses its claws to help tear apart. After the successful hunt, it carried its trophy back to its home. There, it enjoyed it slowly and alone. A week later, I noticed that the bait fish were clearly more active. It seems they were ready for their sacrifice. Now, let's randomly select a lucky one. This is a mosquito fish. I brought the container with the mosquito fish close to the tank wall. The snapping turtle sensed it immediately. Its gaze was fixated on the movements inside the container. It showed a strong desire to hunt. Then, I placed the mosquito fish inside. Unexpectedly, the fish darted straight to hide behind the rocks. Its speed is extremely fast, so much so that the snapping turtle was completely unaware. It kept waiting foolishly near the water's surface. I had no choice but to move the stone slab to create hunting conditions for it. The mosquito fish reacts extremely quickly. With a sharp turn, it hid behind the blue dragon stone. The snapping turtle followed closely behind, but it suddenly stopped at the corner of the stone. It tilted its head, clearly confused. It didn't understand how its prey had suddenly vanished again. After a while, it probably felt the danger had passed. The mosquito fish boldly swam into the open water area. This was undoubtedly a fatal mistake. The snapping turtle seized the opportunity to launch an attack. This time the situation changed. The swimming posture of the mosquito fish started to become somewhat abnormal. Upon closer inspection, it was found that its tail fin was injured. After a struggle, it still couldn't escape the fate of being swallowed. Next, I plan to feed it live bait every day, hoping that by this time next year, it will have grown larger.